This is Comic Shenanigans, episode 1113, Daredevil Talk with Zack Chapman.
Ain't no stopping them shenanigans. Love getting into shenanigans. All up in them shenanigans. 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 Shenanigans.
Welcome to the Comic Shenanigans podcast. This is episode 1113. This episode we're going to get into erroneously says that's 1112 in the actual episode, but it is 1113. Daredevil Talk with Zack Chapman. Let's jump right into the conversation with myself and Zack. Enjoy. Welcome to the Comic Shenanigans podcast. I'm your host, Adam Chapman. This is episode 1112. This is Daredevil Talk with Zack Chapman. The previously scheduled episode had been for Creator Spotlight on Joe Madureira, just with regards to scheduling. That had to be pushed back, so hopefully that'll come your way sometime in November. Also, the Book of the Month Club is going to be kind of rejiggered as well. It is likely going to be Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Volumes 1 and 2, with me and Paul Scoras sitting down to chat about that. That'll be coming out the end of the month. Upcoming episodes include another conversation with Ron Friends, an episode with Marcus Toe, an episode with Chuck Austin and Pat Olive, so a bunch of other stuff coming down the way, and I might be making an appearance on another podcast soon, so I'll keep your ears peeled, and if you can peel your ears, keep them open, I guess. Well, when are they not open? Okay, so at some point I will let you know where you can find me elsewhere. But I'm working on being on another podcast to talk about something near and dear to my heart, Spider-Man during the post-Clone Saga pre-relaunch period. If you've listened to the show before, you probably already know that I love that. And so there's a podcast apparently dedicated to that I didn't even know about, and so I hope to be on it soon. You can email us at comicshenanigans@gmail.com, rate the show on Apple Podcasts, listen to us on Apple Podcasts, and also listen to us on Spotify. So, without further ado, Zachary Chapman, my son, is back on this episode. Last time he was on was episode 1092B. This was recorded back in May 2025. So at the time, I guess he was 11. Now he's 12. So he's come a long way in those few months. At the time, he had just mainlined Spider-Man from like issue 1 to 950 or so, which is a lot in a relatively short period. So now he was like, I need a sustained run. I want a big swath of comics. It needs to be big. It can't just be 2 trades. It needs to be a lot. So I don't have a lot where I have everything, but Daredevil's close. So I said, okay, read Daredevil. So I'm going to ask you in a moment, son, and actually have you speak because I've been talking nonstop. Originally, I had said, okay, start with To Dare the Daredevil, which is the beginning of the Frank Miller run, but I think I pulled out comics to give you.
Yes, you had me read it,
okay.
To Dare the Devil, and then I went downstairs after I finished, and everything after it, I mean, not everything, but like a few issues after it were gone.
Okay.
And I was very confused, so I just grabbed the one before it.
Okay, which would have been Volume 7, The Concrete Jungle.
And then I walk upstairs and I start reading it, and then I go up to my room and I see it all laid out next to my bed, and I'm like, oh,
yeah,
that's where it went.
That's what a good dad does. Yeah. He's like, okay, you're going to like this, so I'm going to give you as much as you can handle coming right after this, because it was
a lot. Like, my room was like full for days.
Yes, it was. Well, I was away for a weekend, so I wanted to make sure you had material. So I want to ask you about this. So I started you off at, a very strong artistic moment. To Dare the Daredevil is the beginning of the Frank Miller run. So they just finally started putting it out in trade. So you read that epic, and then after that you had to read the omnibus for the Frank Miller collection that had the rest of Frank Miller.
Yes.
So I'm curious, when you're first reading it, like years ago, you had read a bit of the Daredevil Silver Age epics, but again, you were younger and it may not have taken form in your mind. You've read I think there's 2 or 3 Mighty Marvel Masterworks of Daredevil that you have read. So you've read a little bit of Silver Age. So you had a bit of a grounding in who the character was, and then you read this. I knew who the
character was. I knew his I knew most about him.
Okay.
Like, even without reading, I knew who he was.
Okay.
Because you cannot stop talking about him.
Sure, but unlike Spider-Man, you are not old enough to enjoy most media that exists about Daredevil. So there's a Daredevil Netflix show. It's too old for you. There's Born Again. Way too old for you. It's really extreme.
Isn't Defenders too old for me?
Defenders, well, it's built into the Netflix universe, so I'd say that is as well. So those things are a little bit too adult, and even the 2003 Daredevil film, I would say, is also a little bit adult for you. Maybe in a year or so, that you'd be kind of at the right age. So unlike Spider-Man, where you had experienced a lot of Spider-Man content, your ability to appreciate and enjoy Daredevil content was different because there just wasn't as much available to you at your age. I think you'd watched the Spider-Man animated series in the 90s. There's
I love that series. So good.
That's a really good series, and there was 2 episodes with Daredevil on it. So when you start reading Daredevil, the epic that you read, mid-epic, it switches to Frank Miller doing the art, and near the end, I believe, is when he actually starts writing it, when you have Elektra come into the book. So I'm curious how you felt the book changed just from that little beginning, and then also going back and reading Concrete Jungle, how that book felt different to what you then experienced under Frank Miller.
I mean, well, obviously they added a character, so... that changes a few things.
Yeah.
A little change. She doesn't even matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they add Elektra, who is, again, a character that he brings... The minute he writes the book, he's bringing in Elektra. He's bringing Kingpin into the book, which he had not been...
Yes, a Spider-Man villain. I never knew that, because you always talk about Daredevil and Kingpin, so I just thought that Kingpin was always a villain of Daredevil.
But
I watched the animated series, and I was so confused.
Yes. Well, and I guess also when you were doing your Spider-Man read, you saw Kingpin there, right?
Weird.
But it was different.
Yeah.
He was more supervillain and less mob boss.
Yeah.
He was still used as a mob boss, but it was different.
Did he? I don't remember.
Well, he definitely was a mob boss, but they played it differently than Daredevil does. And Daredevil, it's much more street level, so you can do different things. So, so I'm gonna
Isn't Spider-Man also street level kind of though?
He is, but he also goes to space.
Can I also go back to a few things? You said there wasn't a lot of media that I can see Daredevil in.
Well, now there is.
Well, at least I can play Daredevil in Marvel Rivals.
This is true.
If I can ever get a chance.
So years ago, there was also a game called Marvel Nemesis: Rise of the Imperfects, and I remember Daredevil was in that game, and it was like a top-down, but it was like a action strategy game. I don't think I have I don't have the system anymore that can play it, so I can maybe find videos of it.
Nate?
But Nate probably. I don't know if he has does he have a working PS2? I think he does.
So we have a PS2 downstairs.
We have PS3 downstairs.
We have PS3 in my room.
Sorry, then there's nothing downstairs. There was a
PS2 down there.
Or there's a dead PS3. There's definitely not a PS2 because I remember getting rid of it. So that is gone.
Damn.
So now you can play Daredevil as Marvel Rivals. And so I think that probably knowing that Daredevil was coming was part of you wanting to read Daredevil too, right? Because that new Marvel Rivals character was coming.
I think I started reading Daredevil before I knew that he was coming.
Yeah.
But I guess that also influenced it, because at one part, I forget when I was, but I was like, let's see if I can read all of Daredevil before he comes out.
That's right, yes. So you were really mainlining it because you had a deadline.
Yeah.
Which you did, because it came out.
I did it. I'm so good. Yesterday.
He came out, on October the 10th? So
as of we're recording this, yesterday.
Yes, that's right. Well, it's coming out today, so we're recording and publishing this episode today.
Got it.
So you read Frank Miller. So I'm going to hit you with some quick questions about the progression of Daredevil.
Yeah.
So
Hit me.
what did you think of the death of Elektra?
I thought it was good.
Yeah, because obviously she's coming back because...
It gets a lot less meaningful when she comes back a million times.
Yes.
But it was good. It was good.
Yeah. Now, what did you think about Bullseye as a villain? So there's some really good stories in that. You have him having the brain damage.
Yeah, Bullseye is absolutely insane.
He is, but you have Daredevil save his life, and then I think it's Manolis or one of the detectives is saying, anyone he kills now is on you. Which is a really heavy moment, and I think the end of that issue, you just hear over the loudspeaker he survived.
Make it,
yeah, which I think they added that post. I don't think that was originally supposed to be in the script, and I think that it was a last minute addition so that people would know for sure he survived. Okay.
Wasn't he at one point in a giant container and just his eyes were showing, and then he got blinded, and then just don't know what happened.
That character's had a lot of stuff happen to him.
Yeah.
He's had his spine broken. He's had an adamantium spine. He's been broken again. He's been killed.
He's been Hawkeye.
Like, yeah, I mean, the comic books go on longer and longer, and there's no such thing as a final story, so they have to keep doing things. So the unfortunate part is it's hard to establish stakes, because things can happen to a character, and then they're like, well, I still want to use that character, so we have to figure out a way out of it.
Spider-Man got beat up so bad, he's gonna have to sleep for a week. Oh, next issue, he's completely fine. It's only been a day.
Well, that's a little different, but I get your point. So there was a pocket of issues that you weren't really able to read that are not yet an epic. You got to read one of my favorite storylines of all time, and for most people, one of the best Daredevil stories of all time, which was Born Again, which is the Kingpin systematically breaking down Daredevil, taking everything away from him, and Daredevil kind of losing his mind a little bit, and then being born again. So I'm curious how you felt about that.
Born again!
Yes, okay. But what did you think about that aspect of the story? Did you like it? Did you like the art? Did you like the writing?
No offense to you, but I didn't actually vibe with the story that much.
No, why did you not vibe about it? Because it's a pretty systematic
He didn't,
deconstruction
go to his
of the character.
friends. He didn't, he just went crazy in his own mind and tried to get help.
True, but at this point, no one knows he's Daredevil. He can't tell anyone,
What about
right?
Spider-Man?
Well, no, at this
But
point...
he's wearing a red costume.
It doesn't matter. So
What?
No one knows he's Daredevil at this point. So he is kind of isolated. So it's difficult for him to talk to people because they don't know that he's Daredevil. So he's
Doesn't
got all
Foggy
this...
know he's Daredevil?
No, not at that
What?
point. No.
I didn't know that.
See, I think you skipped some of the post Fall from Grace period, which is where we see Foggy finally find out, and he's pretty pissed.
What?
So there's a lot of stuff, like nowadays we take it for granted that Foggy knows, but he didn't know for a long time. So
He didn't know for 5 seconds because of the Purple Children.
well, that's true. So he's isolated, so he can't tell people what's happening to him, and he doesn't even know what's happening at first, right? He doesn't know why this is all happening. He doesn't even know until the Kingpin blows up his brownstone, and then he's like, you shouldn't have signed your work. Like, that's the moment when he makes that move, right? That storyline also introduces Mother Maggie, or Sister Maggie, so his mom. The idea that his mom lives.
Wasn't that where the What If stemmed from?
Yes.
I love that What If.
What
There's
If?
only one thing I don't like about it. He goes to jail. He goes to jail, and then bad stuff a lot.
That's a what if.
Yeah.
What ifs are all about what are the worst things that can happen as a result of an
I
action.
always hate. I love the theory of What If, but it's always the worst possible future of that What If.
Yeah, but that's a more modern construct of what if. If you go back, we have the first 2 omnibuses of the original series, and that one, the world doesn't end. It does explore other avenues. It's not always so dire, but you're right. It definitely became a trope that, this butterfly landed on the wrong person. Total destruction, everyone's dead. It was very extreme.
The butterfly, the supervillain, never came into creation, which never distracted Tony Stark, which means he never created
There you go.
armor.
It's crazy.
Which therefore means
So
that he created nuclear weapons.
So after that point, you have Daredevil reunited with Karen Page. They're living their life. He's no longer a lawyer. Now you have him opening up the legal aid clinic. You have the, what are those, the boys? What are the kids?
Ooh, the Fat Boys.
The Fat Boys.
I love the Fat Boys. They were my favorite characters in the entire comic.
So I was interested about that because a lot of people don't like the Fat Boys.
Why?
And they don't like that, they like that period in general of Daredevil versus Kingpin and Typhoid Mary and all
I
that.
hate Typhoid Mary. She is the worst character to ever come into existence.
Now, I don't think that you're actually angry about the character. I think you don't like what the character does to Matt, which means that
The character.
Okay, but my point
That character enjoys doing that, so that
Yes.
character sucks.
But I think your interaction is not that it's a bad character, it's that you visibly, as a reader, don't like what it does to the main character, which means that she is effective as a villain. I think she's very...
I don't like her because she's a jerk.
Yes, I think the fact that you have such a strong reaction to that character, I think means that the writer and Ascenti did a really good job of selling this villain and the duality of the character. So you have that period. You got John Romita Jr. on art, who generally you've enjoyed in the past. That period's kind of crazy, right? He goes on the road. You got Inhumans involved. He fights Ultron.
Crazy.
He has a drink with Mephisto at the bar.
Wait, does it? Oh yeah. Wait, does he? Oh, yeah, he does.
So there's a lot of weird stuff. So did you like that period coming off of Born Again? The Born Again is a very street level, this guy has a world upended, he fights Nuke, he has a team up with, Cap's involved at the
Nuke
very
was
end.
okay.
Nuke was okay.
He's okay.
They love that character, they keep bringing him back too.
Yeah, even though he was like third degree burns and then he just rubbed it off.
Yeah, well, that's common.
Chop off my other arm.
So
Get out.
You have that, and then you move into this very different period. So did you like that period?
Oui.
Oui. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
You have to tell people you're speaking French because it just sounds like you need to go pee. All right. So then after that, Andesenti leaves the book. You have D.G. Chichester takes over the book, and it becomes more street level again. And you have this great 6 or 7 issues leading up to the fall of the Kingpin, which you have different artists. Lee Weeks, which is a more traditional style. So I'm curious. I love Fall of the Kingpin. So it's that whole a big fight against the Kingpin. The Kingpin trying to wrestle on to control, and he basically loses, right? And you have this moment where Daredevil says, like, I forgive you, right? What did you like that? Did you feel like,
I don't know.
Kingpin comes back, so, what's the point? What did you think?
I don't remember a lot of stuff from the early. My head's too filled with Mayor Fisk.
Okay.
Weird costume mountain busting criminals out of prison to rehabilitate them. I'm more modern right now.
So you have a more recency bias in your head. Because we almost should, as you go through a character, have you sit down and record for 10 to 20 minutes on each section so that it's more prevalent in your mind.
Yeah.
Which is good to know for the next time we try something like this. From issue 301 to 380, you did not read a lot of it. You did skim a bit more.
The black suit and the armor pads that you love. I don't know. They are just I as a reader do not vibe with every single piece of artwork.
Well, that's fine. And you're not supposed to.
It will tamper with how much fun I'm having reading.
Okay.
Because the suit is good. The villains are probably good. I didn't read it. But if the art looks...
It's very dark.
No, insulting. But if the artwork looks not to my liking, then I'm not going to read it.
If it's not to your taste, that's fine. It's very action-oriented, but it's also heavy on the blacks. So it's very heavy, dark work. So I understand why it may not vibe for you. In the same way. And then I think you did miss out on some hidden gems right afterwards because it was kind of that period. You have a great period with now I'm forgetting, but Carrie Nord's the artist on it. Anyway, then the book ends. So I was like, okay, they don't have epics for all of this stuff yet, so I have some of the individual trades. So I gave you Guardian Devil. So Guardian Devil is artwork by Joe Quesada. It's written by Kevin Smith, who is a celebrated filmmaker.
Doesn't that start leading into Mayor Fisk?
No, not even close. So, Guardian Devil is the one.
Is it like those white trades?
No, maybe. The Guardian Devil is the one with the baby, and it turns out it's all plot by Mysterio because Mysterio paid Kingpin, tracked down Kingpin, and got information so he could torment Matt Murdock with the idea of this baby, and then Daredevil stops him.
With Elektra?
But in the middle of that story, Karen Page dies. She gets killed by Bullseye in the church. Remember, there's supposed to be this baby.
Wait, whose baby even is that? I forget.
It's like no one's baby. It's just not that it's no one's. It's someone's baby, but it's not a consequential character in the cast. That's the storyline that sees the death of Karen Page. You have Matt Murdock considering suicide because he's so upset about it, and then going forward from that, you then have. The death of Mysterio, because Mysterio's like, I stole this one as well from Kraven, right? And Mysterio kills himself.
Oh, yeah.
So that stylistically was a big jump forward because the art was more modern, the colors were more modern. This is not disparaging the previous artists, but suddenly Daredevil went from a book that they weren't spending money on to a book where they were spending money because they got a big name writer.
Money.
They got a big name writer. It was part of a relaunch called Marvel Knights, which at the time was 4 different books. The success of
Moon Knight.
No,
but I'm thinking of different Marvel Knights.
It was Punisher, Inhumans, Black Panther, and Daredevil. So the success of those 4 books and that line was so consequential to the comic book industry, to Marvel, but it has reverberations in comic book history because Marvel's execs then decide to ask Joe Quesada, who was the guy behind Marvel Knights and the artist on Guardian Devil, to take over Marvel and be the editor-in-chief. So he was a very long-standing editor-in-chief. He presided over a really big moment in Marvel history. So a lot of what we got there would not have happened if not for Marvel Knights. So and Daredevil was the crown, one of the crown jewels. Black Panther was the other one, which really changed how people looked at Black Panther. So after that, there's a few storylines. There's Wake Up. There's the first Echo storyline. Do you like Echo?
Yes, I do.
I don't think you liked her going in.
No, I didn't.
So
I don't know why though.
What made you come around?
I guess just how she acted.
Okay.
Or because Daredevil, it's very clear that he's blind. You can see on his suit. Mm-hmm. I mean his cowl, kind of.
Because his eyes are covered.
Covered, okay. And you can see that on his normal clothes. He's wearing glasses, and they're tinted red.
Okay.
Actually, I think him and Cyclops would be friends.
They both see the light of the world in red. Well, technically, he doesn't see any color, but we see it in terms of how we visually see it.
Yeah,
so then you have him with
it's
Echo.
easier. But when we're seeing a first-person view from his view,
mm-hmm.
we can know. But isn't Echo doesn't she deaf?
She's deaf.
Okay, but there's no way if
there's no visual way to show that.
If you went, I know. But if you went in, you'd have no idea. Now, you could put earmuffs on her costume. Not earmuffs per se, but just something blocking her ears.
Fair.
Boom, shown. She's deaf.
Why would you want to show off your weakness in your costume in a way?
Why would Daredevil show off?
No one can tell.
Well, it's literally blocked off.
But they don't know that. It could just be tinted lenses. Has
nobody looked close enough to see that it's blocked?
No, but I think they're supposed to be just tinted lenses more than anything.
Oh.
So I have a question. So you had seen Echo in the TV show, not the Echo show because it's a little bit more mature, but you had seen her in the Hawkeye show. So you knew a little bit of the Echo character.
Yeah, I did.
Were you surprised when she shot Kingpin in the face?
Very. Something I thought only Daredevil would do.
Well, Daredevil wouldn't shoot someone.
But in the what if he did?
Okay, fair.
To be fair, it was on the chest, but hey, same thing.
So then there's a couple trades after that that are okay. There's a storyline by Bob Gale, which is more of a legal comedy / drama. Then you get into one of my favorite runs with the Brian Michael Bendis, Alex Maleev, and so that's where we have the introduction of Milla Donovan. We have that was a big sigh. That was very loud for people. So you loved Milla, and you were like, I really love this character. And I told Nate about that, and he was like, ooh boy, because she doesn't die, though. Of many love interests.
She goes insane.
True,
that's basically the same thing.
It's not. So Gloriana O'Brien dies. Heather Glenn hung herself. Elektra died multiple times. Black Widow, she's not dead. So although she did die at one point, and then she was cloned. So maybe the journey. Karen's dead. So a lot of people end up dead.
Some men cannot catch a break.
No. So she at least didn't die. But it did introduce Milla Donovan. You had the Murdoch papers. You had the Kingpin of Hell's Kitchen when he was taking over for Kingpin. So you had a lot of good storylines there. I love that whole period. I love his storyline where his identity gets outed. Then you have the FBI kind of working on that. So that's that run, which leads into the next run by Brubaker.
Francisco?
No. The next run was the Brubaker run where it started where he was in prison. The Devil in Cell Block D, I think it's called. And then Punisher's there, and then he ends up teaming up, unfortunately, with Bullseye and Kingpin before he then escapes with Frank. Then he has a bit of an adventure in Europe, comes back, and then you lead into the Mr. Fear stuff and the downfall of Milla Donovan, which she never really recovers. So
what happened to Gladiator?
Oh, I don't remember, actually.
Because he also was affected by Mr. Fear, but do we ever see him again?
I feel like, he does. He does show up here and there. So that was a really good period. You seem to enjoy that period overall. I think you liked the Brubaker stuff because I don't think you liked the Maleev artwork as much in the Bendis stuff because it was a little stiff for you. But then it became a little bit more fluid after that. Now, there is that period you kind of missed, which was the period leading up to Shadowland. I think you read some of those comics digitally.
I hate Shadowland.
Yeah, no one likes it. Daredevil goes evil. I think in one of the Marvel vs. Capcom
What are they
4,
saying about black costumes?
I know. In Marvel vs. Capcom 4, I think one of the backgrounds is Shadowland, and you can see Daredevil in the background on a throne.
Can you play as Daredevil in that game?
No.
That game stinks.
Okay. And then moving forward, after that, you have Mark Waid, which is, I think those are the white spines you're talking about, where it's much more lighthearted. He fights Claw. He's more of a swashbuckler. He's wearing a shirt that says, "I'm not Daredevil." He meets Kristen McDuffie. Who
Kingpin becomes mayor at one point in the later run.
Much later.
I just want to talk about that, though.
Okay. Well, there's multiple runs. There's 2 Mark Waid runs. There's the
I like
first
most
one,
of those.
and then the one where he moves to the West Coast. After that, then you have Back in Black. So you have Daredevil in the black costume. The artwork's a lot darker. It's trying to be more like the Netflix show. And then it's a lot more violent.
I hate the black costume.
You have Blind Spot. You have Muse.
I love Blind Spot. I hate Muse.
So that's funny, because at the beginning you're like, I hate Blind Spot. This is stupid. So now you like him.
I just didn't like his costume.
Okay. And then there's Muse, who was then used in the TV show. So he's creepy as heck. And he's an Inhuman.
He's not even creepy. He just looks stupid.
I mean, he's pretty creepy. And then you move into the Mayor Fisk stuff. So you have Fisk becoming mayor, which lasted for a long time. And if you think about it, you experienced a lot of these things just by reading Spider-Man. Because in Spider-Man, Kingpin was, Wilson Fisk was the mayor. In fact, when you were reading The Gang War, which is only a year or 2 ago in Spider-Man, Luke Cage was mayor. So this is stuff that you had experienced, but you hadn't seen the actual spot where it took place.
Yeah.
So
it was good. I liked it.
You liked him as mayor?
Yeah.
Then you had...
I didn't like him as mayor. I liked the storyline.
I get it. And then you had the Chip Zdarsky run, which was, Daredevil kind of not wanting to be Daredevil. And because
Wasn't that when he
accidentally killed someone.
Oh, yeah, that.
And then you lead to him being in prison, and then Elektra becoming Daredevil, which they have not really moved away from. She's still Daredevil to this day.
Yeah.
Now, after he goes and fights, I guess, in hell for God and is wearing the white costume,
That white costume is so cool.
you wanted it to be in the video game.
Yeah.
It's not in there yet, though.
No.
So he gets reborn, and that's the current run by Saladin Ahmed, which I think is just ending now. Born Again.
Born Again.
Okay, and then in the current run, you have liked it. So you have
I love the current run.
So you have the Sins taking over different characters and him having to fight against them.
It was so good.
We have 4 trades of it, so there's still 1 trade that you haven't read yet, which leads into the current Daredevil.
It's so good.
So most people don't like it.
Why?
So I think you actually experienced it in the best way possible. I think part of the problem people have is that it feels like an introductory storyline that went for 25 issues, which is too long. But if you read it all at once, and you're reading it almost as chapters of a book almost, I think it works better. I think if you're reading it monthly for 2 years, you're like, when is this going to end? But you got to experience it in the best way, which I think is all at once, which is not always the case for some of these comics. A lot of older comics, they don't work as well if you read them in rapid succession. If you read a lot of Uncanny X-Men by Chris Claremont, you are going to get tired of the description of everyone's powers. But if you were reading it every month or every other month, and you're trying to find it on the newsstand, and then it's a nice reminder of what happened last and what everyone can do. You are experiencing things in such a dramatically different fashion from most people. Like, I didn't experience Daredevil the way you did. I experienced the last 25 years of Daredevil, I experienced in real time. You guys experienced it in an afternoon. Well, like not an afternoon, but like a series of afternoons or a series of weeks. So you're much more condensed. So now that you are current, what is your next project after Daredevil?
Well, before I say that, there was only one thing I didn't like about that storyline.
Okay.
I did not like when Foggy was possessed, because I didn't like his design.
Okay.
I think that was the only thing I didn't like.
I spoiled that for you.
Yeah. I'm like, Dad, why is Foggy being so rude to Matt? And he's like, well, Foggy was taken over by a sin. And I'm like, Dad! And he's like, oh.
I thought you were already there. I didn't realize I was spoiling it for you.
And I'm like, wow, Foggy was taken over by a sin. Who could have guessed?
Foggy's had a rough go, right? Because he was thought to be dead. He was in witness protection. I remember, and you were like, he's dead. And I'm like, yeah, because I remember when that happened, and it felt real. Like, I know that it's comics, and obviously people come back and whatever, but that one felt like maybe they did kill him. But there was no actual body, and I realized it afterwards. I'm like, oh, you got me. And then you had everything with him and cancer, so like they've definitely put him through the ringer. Because he's like one of the few supporting cast members that Daredevil still has. Most of them end up dying.
Now he has Cole.
Yeah, Cole.
Where is Cole now?
I don't actually know where he is. Now, one character I'm curious about, how do you feel about Ben Urich?
So Ben Urich, I thought it was Urich.
It's Urich, and also his nephew is Green Goblin 3, 4.
Oh, yeah. I thought he was good.
Okay.
Through most of it. And then he got taken over by Sim, right?
Did Urich get taken over?
Yeah, I thought he did, because then he was spreading false rumors around about St. Nick's.
Oh.
I love St. Nick's. That's a good place.
So it's interesting. So again, a lot of people didn't really love some of that at Run, but you liked him working as a priest. You liked his relationship with the kids, which makes sense because you liked the Fat Boys back then.
Yeah.
So this is like the new Fat Boys, so to speak. You liked him.
Versions.
You liked him working at the orphanage. So it's interesting. Unfortunately, like that era is over. We don't know what the next era is going to bring us for Daredevil. So now that you're done and you're kind of up to date on Daredevil, although you read Man Without Fear, which is the origin of Matt that they did in the 90s. You've not read Daredevil Yellow, even though I said that you should. You have not read Battling Jack Murdoch, which is one of my favorite stories by Zeb Wells and Carmine.
Well, I might.
No, just not yet. And so
Busy with the new project.
So what is the new project? What characters?
Not
next?
yet. I have to tell you one last thing.
Okay.
One of a favorite run of mine was a short run. I think it was not in Board Again.
Okay.
But like something happened with Kingpin and Murdoch.
Okay.
And he like loses his memory, but also not. So he thinks he's his dad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then he hangs out with this girl, and I really like that run. I thought it was really wholesome and fun.
That was right near the end. Is that when Bullseye was walking around as Daredevil?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That was in the end of Nascenti's run, right before Chichester came on, right before Fall of the Kingpin, so that would have been around issue 280 or so. I remember that, yeah. I really like that issue where Matt fights Bullseye, but Bullseye's Daredevil, and so he's dressed up as Bullseye, and it's confusing, but the idea is that like Bullseye's grasp in reality is so tenuous that he's messing with him, because he's like, but Daredevil can't win, but he's Daredevil, so it's almost like he can't win. And anyways, it's a good battle. Okay, are you ready to talk about your new project?
One last thing.
Okay.
In the not current, but like...
More recent?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's when Kingpin got taken over by Sim.
Yeah.
I did like at the end when he was cleansed of it, that he was like sorry, because he is trying to become like not that type of person anymore.
It's interesting.
Yeah, he was just trying to live a happy life on a boat.
Yeah, it's interesting because Daredevil, the book, doesn't really get into too much of the fact that Kingpin was a main party of the Mutant Alliance during the fall of Krakoa. And when Krakoa was coming apart, because he became a member of the Hellfire Club, and he was married to a mutant, right? He was married to Typhoid Mary.
She's a mutant?
She's a mutant, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She was a mutant, and that's why he was allowed to go to Krakoa. Okay, so current project.
Current project is... Drum roll, please.
Please don't do that on that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That looked weird.
Yeah, you spiked the audio because you can't touch anything that this is based on.
So...
There we go. Okay, that's...
Iron Man.
So you were resistant.
I was very resistant.
So I told you, like, I have Iron Man Epics. I have a fair number of them. You've already read FF, so you're less interested in going down that road. You've read some X-Men, so this was, like, something different. You've never really read any Iron Man. Like, obviously you know Iron Man. You've watched the movies.
You played him in Marvel Rivals.
Yeah, you know him.
Maximum Pulse.
So this has been interesting kind of watching you go through it. You started... I think around issue 155 or so, whatever epic corresponds to that. And for the most part, we have an almost unbroken run to the end of Volume 1. So I'm very curious to talk about that with you in a future podcast, talking about Iron Man, because I love Iron Man. I like a lot of things about Iron Man, and so you're experiencing it, and like some of them surprises that have happened to that character. Because
don't like his hair, though.
You have to remember that character was like C or B list before Robert Downey Jr. Like, people liked Iron Man, but he wasn't like A list. Now he's A-list, he's everywhere, but he wasn't.
S-list.
Yeah, well, there was a couple of years there where he wasn't even Iron Man. He was just like living on the streets as an alcoholic. Like, they did things with that character that you almost couldn't do now to the same degree. You can't take him off the board that long. You're also experiencing an era before War Machine was his own character. So you're seeing James Rhodes become Iron Man, but not War Machine yet, so I'm very curious to talk about that with you in a future episode, to kind of go through how your interpretation of Iron Man changed, because you're also used to everyone knowing who Iron Man is. That's not really the case. No one knows he's Tony.
I mean, I feel like he is just a rude character, but I feel like he's gotten nicer over the years.
True. So, anyways, that'll be a future episode. Zachary, thank you for...
Nah, I'm Nate.
Okay.
What's up, guys? I'm Nate.
So, Zach, thank you for being part of this episode. Thank you for talking about Daredevil for so much. I really appreciate it. Thanks again for coming along with us on this Daredevil talk with Zack Chapman, and we will catch you next time. The next episode should be an interview, I believe, with Ron Friends, so we'll be talking more about his run on Thor. Thanks again for listening to this episode, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.